AviationPros.com is the portal website for AMT, Airport Business, and Ground Support Worldwide magazines. Visit daily for breaking news, industry blogs, and insightful articles from our magazine's editorial team. And don't forget to sign up for our publication's daily e-newsletters. It's all at AviationPros.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Aviation Pros podcast. I'm Joe Petrie, Editorial Director for Aviation Pros Media Network. James Parish, CEO of the Charlotte County Airport Authority and Punta Gorda Airport, was recently named the 2021 Air Carrier Airport Manager of the Year by the FAA Southern Region of Airport Division. This award is given to an airport professional who exemplifies excellence in airport management, demonstrates exceptional leadership, tirelessly works to promote the aviation industry, and has achieved efficiencies and improved productivity in their organization. I recently spoke with James about the honor and the efforts he has undertaken in recent years and some of the other tactics airports can use to enhance their business and bottom line, like Punta Gorda. All right, James. Well, thank you very much for taking an opportunity to speak with me today. And again, congratulations on being named Air Carrier Airport Manager of the Year by the FAA Southern Region. The question I have to start with is, tell me how it feels to be honored with such a prestigious award in your career.
Honestly, it was a lot of surprise. I knew we had put in for it, but the Southern Region has a lot of great airports, so it was shocking that I was selected. But it's a big deal for our staff and our small airport. We do a lot with a little, and I think it shows in our application, and I was just honored to be selected by the FAA.
Wonderful. So that's a big accomplishment for an airport like yours. So tell me, from your perspective, what are the qualities of a great aviation management team that can set an airport apart from the competition?
I think here at PGD, we've always been very collaborative. We throw a lot of ideas out and we figure out what we think is going to work the best. But the one thing we do is we make decisions quickly. And I've always felt in my career, whether it was in engineering design, whether it was in development, it's better to make a bad decision and correct it than to make the right decision way too late. So we move pretty fast. When we decided to become a commercial airport in 2006, we didn't have a tower, we didn't have ARF, we didn't have a terminal. So we made decisions really quickly, and by the late 2007, we were up operational and went from 0 passengers to 7,000 in just 1 month, and then we'll be almost at 2 million passengers this year.
It's amazing seeing that kind of growth out of an airport. Now, you've been honored in part for the workforce development efforts that you've put in. Tell me a little bit about some of these efforts that have been successful at your airport and why they've been working.
Well, I think the great thing about where we are is our weather. So obviously the military knew this was a great place to train pilots back in the 40s. That's why we exist today, and we still take advantage of that with our flight training. But along with pilots, the industry is desperate for mechanics and people to work on the airplanes, and so we partnered with the school board to open up an AMP school here. We put them in an old building that was scheduled for demolition. They put some money into it to fix it up, and now we're working with the state and the school board on a $3 million grant to build them a new facility on the north side of the airport, which we call the AVX, the Aviation Expansion Area. It's just been opened up, and we've had a lot of people interested in coming here because of that. I think for our community, we're a very heavy retirement community, but all of us that have kids want to make sure there's something for them to do and stay in our community when they leave the house, and this is just part of that. There are a lot of other things going on, but we're proud of what we have done here at the airport.
And that leads into my next question, that I know that you've been very successful in luring new tenants to the airport in recent years, including several commercial flight schools. What are the steps you've been taking to make PGD such an enticing place to set up shop for these businesses?
Well, I think, our attitude is we're a large commercial airport or a large general aviation airport with commercial service. And to that, we still have a very active general aviation community, and that has attracted some of the flight schools. The fact that we have T hangars, the fact that we've just built 10 acres of ramp space to park airplanes, a brand new FBO for the flight schools to set up in. I mean, we've made it attractive, and just our surroundings. There's a lot of places to fly over the center of the state, so that it's a great opportunity for flight training, and I think Punta Gorda still is a great place to live, an economical place to buy a house. So you have people that are looking where they're going to open up a business. Everything in the community helps, and the airport's just tried to foster that. And we have a great tower staff that works well with the general aviation, working them into the pattern. Right now we're down to one runway as we rehab our main runway, and they've just been great to work with, and we appreciate everything they do.
One of the most amazing things, I believe, in my opinion, is that the airport was able to keep a 27% operating margin and a $30 million cash reserve during the pandemic. I mean, how did you do this? I mean, what were the challenges the airport saw, and how did you tackle them?
Well, I mean, the immediate challenge was the precipitous drop-off in commercial traffic for the first 2-3 months. And then, we lost a lot of employees who didn't see a future. So, we had some early retirements. We had some people resign. We kept as many as we could. We cut all full-time staff, or down to 32 hours a week. And then when things started picking back up, we all just did everything we could. That's from executive staff taking out the trash to maintenance staff working the curb as we picked back up and tried to get new hires on board. It's very difficult getting people to come back to work, especially when there was still a lot of money out there supplying unemployment benefits. So, we have a very small staff, and we just work extremely hard to keep things going. And I think that helped the bottom line. I mean, the fact that, we were mowing grass and directing traffic, and working operations and keeping the weeds out of the garden all at the same time. It just everybody pitched in. That helped our operating margin. Keep that fairly high. And then the cash reserves. It's something we've been building. It's been a goal of ours since our master plan was completed in 2000. Oh gosh. 9 or 10. It's we've been actually 18 this one, and it's just been a goal to keep as much cash on hand. We're an airport that has one major carrier. We have a Sun Country flies in a few times a week, but our fear is if Allegiant goes away, how do we continue operations? And my philosophy is you don't take on debt and you have as much cash on hand as possible, so that you can take advantage of other opportunities as they come along.
Absolutely. That's a great philosophy to have on that. And that also comes into the idea of the amount of capital plans that you've done at the airport in recent years. Tell me, what have you undertaken recently? What are you undertaking now? And how is it looking to enhance operations overall at the airport?
Well, I think the biggest thing we've done, and it's a project that's coming slowly to a close, is our new air center, which is the FBO. We own and operate the FBO and all the fueling operations on the airport. That is opening up a new area on the north side of the airport. It's separating commercial from general aviation, so there's a little less congestion on our main ramp. It quadrupled the size of parking we had for general aviation, went from about a 3,500 square foot building to a 13,000 square foot building that'll have a commercial restaurant in it that'll be available for the community, the pilots, as well as catering for flights and community events. It'll have a community event center in it that you could rent to have wedding receptions, weddings, whatever you want to do. And, That was an $18 million project that honestly I put on the books back in 2008 or 9, and we've just been working with the FAA, the FDOT, economic development to try and get all the money in place to build it. We were very fortunate with the FAA's extra money that they came out with a few years ago. We got some of that. We got some state funds as well as PFC and local funds that we put all that together to build the facility and not take on any additional debt. That's about $18 million worth of investment that'll ultimately be ramp space, hangar space, building 24 new T hangars, 9 50 by 50 hangars, 10 60 by 60s, and then we're looking at expanding to a larger hangar for itinerant traffic next to the FBO, probably be 120 by 100 hangar for that.
It's going to be some incredible growth. That's exciting to see. So one of the things is that looking into this, now that you've been able to go through a pandemic and help build this airport up into what it is today, and now that we're starting to see more newer or younger airport managers come onto the scene, especially with some of the retirements that came through the pandemic, tell me, from somebody who's been even honored by the FAA for this matter, what types of advice would you give to these young airport managers when it comes to being able to build success in their airports in their career?
Well, I speak to a couple of different colleges every once in a while about airport management, and they always ask me what my degree's in, and my degree is in engineering. I think you've got to understand construction, you've got to understand development, because being an airport manager is about 50% managing an airport and 50% managing a construction project. Be flexible is the big thing. I mean, everything you learn in school is great. I spent 5 years getting a degree in engineering and probably spent less than a year of my last 24 working as an actual engineer doing calculations behind a computer. So being flexible and continuing to learn. This field changes faster than almost any other and is one of the most heavily regulated industries out there. So keep in touch with your peers, keep in touch with the FAA, and constantly work with people like, Florida Airports Council is great here in Florida, but I know other states have similar things. Be active in all of those communities, and you'll learn a lot from other people.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It was a great conversation today, and I look forward to hearing about more success at the airport in the future. Thanks again for listening to today's podcast. Make sure to check out Airport Business for all the latest best practices for professionals in the field. And if you're enjoying these episodes of Aviation Pros Podcast, make sure to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast, which is available wherever fine podcasts can be downloaded. I'm Joe Petrie. We'll catch you next time.